Doflamingo is getting his shit wrecked. How's it going, everybody? I am Gio, the Foolish Assassin. Today we're talking about One Piece chapter 785, Even If Your Legs Break. And this was a great battle chapter. Luffy is, beating the shit out of Doflamingo. We get a really great speech by King Riku, which is solidifying that he's back and he's taking the helms, and he pretty much wants to erase, wherever the Don Quixote family, what they've been doing to this country for the past, how many years or so. But let's jump right in. Let's talk about it. Okay, so the chapter starts off with Luffy finishing off that cavalry cannon that he shot off last chapter. It looks like he's able to move it, like I said last chapter, at the speed of which his opponent is going, so he can follow it around, so it just isn't going straight, and that's just a missed punch. He can keep the punch going until it reaches, the intended target. And the townspeople, they're like, who is that bubble guy? Why? He's beating Doflamingo. What does it matter? And then we cut over to Law and Cavendish, and Cavendish is like, damn, he pulled out a new move, and then Law, he's like, yeah, I wasn't expecting Luffy to have an ace up his sleeve, but he's using way too much haki, and that must be one of the drawbacks of this form, which I'm starting to believe that Luffy hasn't fully mastered this form yet. Maybe he built this form just to combat those beasts on that island he was on during that 2-year time skip. So maybe he hasn't mastered haki control to that point, like many others have within the new world, like Virgo and even Law himself. So yeah, it must be like a physical. It must be physically damaging if you use too much haki. Also mental damaging, because as we know, haki is an extension of your will. So it could have could have like mental effects on your mind too if you use too much haki. Also watching the fight is Burgess. He's like off to the side or whatever. He's questioning whether or not he should go to where Luffy is, and he's wondering if like this is a perfect time to strike, or is this a should he just kick back and just watch everything happen and wait for a better time. Also on his back you see like this bag or whatever, and it has like spirals on it, and it's kind of like looking like devil fruit. I'm wondering if he got into the Smile factory or into like that underground dock area from before, and he's still like some modified devil fruit for Blackbeard to take back to him for research purposes, or to add onto the crew, because as we know, Blackbeard has not only been taking out a lot of strong pirates within the new world, he's also been gathering up a lot of strong pirates with devil fruit abilities. So is Burgess like just grabbing up things like, all right, we just grab these random devil fruit to increase our army strength or whatever? We don't know that yet. It turns out that Koala, she's been tracking Burgess, keeping an eye on him, and she's wondering like, what is he at the why is he trying to go after Luffy? So we cut over to Frankie and the rest of the Tontados who are attacking the factory, and the Tontados are like, yo, the trains are coming, we should get out. We did all we can, the factory is going to come down, and they're running out, and the factory is made out of sea stone, so the strings are not really going to cut the factory, they're just going to push it along. And this leads me to believe that the factory isn't 100% destroyed, that Doflamingo might be able to rebuild the factory, seeing as how it's made out of sea stone, which I believe is the hardest substance within the One Piece universe. And the fact that the Tontados still only do so much. Frankie, if he would have helped, the factory probably would have came tumbling down or whatever, but that's whatever. Frankie, he notices Zoro, Kinemon, and Kinemon's friend or whatever. They're riding on that weird duck thing, and Frankie's like, where you guys going? The center of town is that way. If you want to survive, you should be going to the center of town. I mean, if you guys are going to run away, you might as well go to the center of town. And Zoro says, hey, we're going to try and take down this we're going to try to do our best to take down this bird cage or whatever. And Frankie, he gives a thought, and he says, oh yeah. He was like, I have an idea. As to what that idea is, I don't know. We cut back over to the fight with Doflamingo, and he's like laying on the ground after getting hit with that cavalry gun. And he's like, damn, he's able to manipulate his haki so that he's able to not only defend when he has to, like make his side stronger and like harder, like how normal haki works, but he's also able to weaken it to a point where he's able to even bend with the haki, and he's thinking like, this kid is like really dangerous and he has to take him out. So Luffy tries to go for a double cavalry gun, or cavalry cannon, my fault, And Doflamingo shows off a new ability where he touches the ground, and it's called off-white, and you see strings just come out of the ground. And then Luffy, he's looking at him like, what? This is, something that a Paramecia user can't do. And Doflamingo, he says, Doflamingo, he reveals something called an awakening. Now, I was looking at Sawyer's review, Sawyer's MH, and someone told him about chapter 544, I believe that's chapter 544, where Crocodile commented on zone users within the Impel Down, and how they are awakened and they can get up from powerful attacks and they can recover and heal much faster and they come back more relentless. When I first read this awakening, what I thought was like maybe they all work the same way, but rereading chapter 544, I believe it's a little bit different for each type of devil fruit, like Logia, Paramecia, and Zoan. Like with Doflamingo, what he's showing right now is that he could take his Paramecia ability and he could morph it to the world or whatever. So if Luffy can figure out how to awaken, can he make his surroundings rubbery? I don't know what kind of effect that would have on a battle like this, or any battle in general where Luffy just like touches a wall or whatever and the wall becomes rubber. I don't know what kind of effect that could have. I wonder what kind of I can see like a Logia user using it, like Crocodile, for example. If he was to say get into a huge fight with like multiple enemies, he could touch the ground and the ground just becomes sand, which is what he pretty much did when he was in Alabasta. He like pretty much just drained everything. But let's say he was like in a room made of metal, he could like touch the ground and the ground just becomes sand and everyone can't really move as fast. Or he touched the wall and the wall becomes sand, he can just go through or whatever. But yeah, that's just my speculations on what this awakening is. So not only does Doflamingo turn the ground into string, he's also able to turn the buildings into string. As we see, like the buildings surrounding Luffy, they all become string and start to attack Luffy. And Luffy, he goes and he was like, this is like really weird ability. How is he able to do this or whatever? And we see this cage is starting to come in a little bit faster. What I'm starting to believe is that, like I think I said this in the last chapter, that the more string Doflamingo uses, the faster the bird cage comes in. Like as we can see, it's only been 20 minutes, but the cage is smaller than what it was supposed to be when Doflamingo was explaining how the bird cage worked when he was drawing it in. So yeah, I believe the more damage Doflamingo takes and the more string he uses, the faster that bird cage comes in. So it's very imperative that Luffy takes out Doflamingo right now at this very second, which he does at the end of the chapter, or people are going to start dying. And at this point, we see, everyone's in the town, they're running. We have an old woman and her grandchild, and the old woman trips, and she says, go on, I'm not able to go. We have one woman, she's like, where's my 5-year-old? He's just 5, someone help me find him. One guy, he has a broken leg, and he's like, there's no point in even going anymore. And everyone just is losing hope. So that's when King Riku gets on the mic, or on the Denmushi, and he gives this very powerful speech like, we've been trapped in this cage called Dressrosa for, all these years, and we've been, Doflamingo, he's a puppeteer. He's been, manipulating us. We don't want no more of that shit. Today is the day that Doflamingo and his family dies. His family dies. Right now it's only him left, and Straw Hat, Luffy, he's the only one fighting him right now, and I believe in Luffy. He says, please everyone, for the sake of Dressrosa, please survive. Keep running. If you can't run no more, keep running. If your legs break, keep running. Get to the middle of the city, stay safe, because at this very minute, Luffy's going to beat Doflamingo. That's what he said. He says at this very, at this minute, we're going to see who wins or loses, and he's putting all his faith in Luffy at pretty much. He really wants Luffy to win. He really wants to become, put himself back up there as King of Dressrosa, as the protector of his island, protector of his country. Personally, I believe, not only was this a great speech, but I also believe that after this arc, once Luffy beats Doflamingo, I believe they might change the name of the island from Dressrosa, seeing as how it has such a dark history with that name because Doflamingo's rule over the country. I believe they might change the name. That's a little bit of a speculation. If I was King Riku, I would change the name. I would change it to something else, like Sunflower Island or something. I don't fucking know. One thing that's bothering me though is the fact that I think I mentioned this maybe a couple chapters ago. Why don't the citizens of Dressrosa move underground? Because as you can see, the strings are just staying above ground level, like I was saying a couple chapters ago. I did cut the rocks surrounding Dressrosa, but that was only just a bit, and it just seems like it's just scraping across the ground. I mean, there is that underground dock area that everyone could go to, and that would pretty much leave Doflamingo, Luffy, Straw Hats, and Law up to to the fight or whatever. And I doubt the Straw Hats and they are going to run away. Personally, that's how I feel. That's what everyone should be doing. They should be getting underground, because it seems like the strings aren't cutting the island itself. It's just cutting the top layer and just leaving a flat surface. But after King Regal, he gives that speech. Everyone they get the urge. They believe in their king. The old woman, she gets up and she starts running at full speed. She says, "Hurry up, granddaughter, we gotta go." The woman, she finds her child. Fujitora, he was standing like right in front of her, so I believe that he was the one that found the child and gave it to her. I believe he's going to have some significance in taking down the bird's cage as well, or at least he's going to help everyone, probably defend everyone against the strings once the strings start coming in a little bit faster. Yeah, everyone starts running. People actually someone picked up that guy with a broken leg. They start running too, and everyone's pretty much just rooting for Luffy to win at this point. And we get back to the fight, and Doflamingo, he uses the strings to like create like a barrier around himself. Luffy contracts his head into like that compression thing that he used last chapter, and he headbutts the string, and then he goes for a new move called the Lion Bazooka, where he pretty much just does kind of like Kamehameha move, and it pretty much shoots Doflamingo into the plateau. And the chapter pretty much ends there with Doflamingo being locked in the wall, and it says, "Is this the climactic defeat?" Personally, I don't think Doflamingo is down for the count. I believe he might get back up next chapter. I believe he has some more things to show, or at least tell us more about Awakening. Also, I don't believe he's gonna die. I don't believe he's gonna die when Kaido shows up about the factory or whatever. Because he just doesn't seem like that character. He has a little bit more to tell us about, because he's the only part of the Celestial Dragons that isn't with the Celestial Dragons. I feel he has a little bit more to divulge into that. His place within the story, is a little bit too entwined, no pun intended, because of the strings. But I feel he has a little bit more to contribute to the story as of this point. So dying when Kaido shows up, I don't think that's going to happen. I believe he might go into hiding, or he might just leave Dressrosa and, take whoever's still alive with him or whatever. But, yeah, I don't think he's going to die. As for Luffy's ability, I said this a little bit earlier, that he's using too much haki. As we can see, he puts the haki like on his arms and on his chest and on his sides or whatever. I believe in that form, that's the extent of how much haki he can use. And since his form has a time limit because of the air, and it also has a strain on his body. So, I believe he still has a little bit of time to master this ability. He hasn't fully gotten it yet. I believe when he fully masters the ability, the body will be a little bit more proportionate. He'll probably get a little bit taller. He'll still have the muscular form, obviously, compared to his regular, body or whatever. But because as you can see, like his top half of his body is like super big or whatever, while his bottom half is still a little bit smaller. So I believe when he fully masters the form, it'll probably be like a more full body haki, if you will, and like his legs will be more proportionate to his body, and his arms will be more proportionate or whatever. Another thing I want to know about this chapter is what's in Burgess's bag. Again, it does have that devil fruit design on it. I believe that within that bag is a devil fruit with devil fruits, so that he can take it back to Blackbeard and further increase their army's fighting power with devil fruit abilities or fake devil fruit abilities. Also, what is this awakening ability? What is this awakening ability? What truly is it? As we saw with Doflamingo, he's able to touch the ground or touch a building or whatever, and it's able to turn into string. And he says that once you awaken your ability, there's a whole nother world of possibilities you can do with your specific ability. He also says that it's very rare that this happens. So is it something that members of the Straw Hat can do? Is it something that is probably going to just be given to Luffy? Like, he's going to keep investigating on this awakening ability. He's going to figure out how to awaken his ability and be able to turn the ground into rubber so he can jump. Actually, that would be really cool if he combined his rubber legs with a rubber ground. So he'd be able to jump higher, probably move faster or whatever, so he could be able to just, hit the wall, make the raw rubber bounce off the raw and, shoot off like a rocket, and then, do it like a gum bazooka or whatever. But yeah, I really want to know what this awakening ability is because it sounds really interesting. I want to see it used by very powerful opponents and powerful allies within the future. But yeah, really solid chapter. Leave your thoughts down below. What did you think of the chapter? If you like my video, give it a thumbs up. If you like my content, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. I am Beautiful Success, and I'll see you guys later.
There's a war going on outside, no place to run and hide. Need to open eyes if you want to stay alive. Can't wait time when you trying to survive. Even when you die, your whole life should be alive. There's a war going on outside, no place to run and hide. Need to open eyes if you want to stay alive. Can't wait time when you trying to survive. Even when you die, your whole life should be alive.